all of your support, working with Mr. Allwine to secure that property, to find a new home for the old Inwood Bridge and giving it a new life in a different form, being able to move that project forward, especially considering this is one of those holdover projects that we've all been wrestling with and trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think through a collaborative effort, and I think thank you to the Secretary for being able to find that, to be able to make this project whole so we could keep it moving forward. So I think in general it was a collaborative effort. I think there was support on all sides to try to keep that project moving forward. The other one, for those of you who didn't drive in on 422, the sinkhole is open, right, Mike? You probably maybe a few less calls.
So the sinkhole is not open, the sinkhole's closed.
Well, closed, yeah, closed for now, yeah. The road is open. But that's something I think for all of us who have been patiently waiting to see that that get back to be open and operational. We're certainly pleased. 422 and Ramona Road project, we've had that progressing pretty well forward. If you've been out in that neck of the woods, you'll see quite amount of work happening in there with the intersection improvements, a new traffic signal upgrade. North Cornwall Commons, another one. If you're driving in that neck of the woods, you'll see quite a bit of earth moving and reconstruction of our first intersection at Rockerty Road in Cornwall. Obviously, that, for those of you that see the construction moving forward, that's not the end of the project work. There'll still be other intersections along with Wilhelm at a couple other locations that we'll be doing in the coming years. LVRT Phase 1, 2, and 3 rehab, we have all that completed for anybody who's traveled on the southern portion of the rail trail. You'll see an improved surface with some other enhancements at the trailheads and other locations. Route 501 and 422 intersection, for those of you that may remember, we did the 422 road safety audit a number of years ago. As a result of that, I had learned in talking with the project manager that that's been out on the street for bid, so you'll start to see some more information on that in the coming months here. I think that probably covers most of the real big highlights until we get to some of the TA stuff, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John.
Questions?
Any questions for John? Our next.
Briefly mentioned, PennDOT did well, the MPOs and others did a solicitation for projects that would potentially be eligible for the transportation alternatives. It's kind of changed over the years from, you may remember, TE to TAP to now a TA set aside, and there was $55 million statewide that was available for projects. And for those people who were interested in pursuing projects, they had to first meet with the MPO staff to discuss the nature of the project and eligibility requirements, what they were proposing to do, as well as meet with the district staff and PennDOT to be able to discuss the other aspects of how they would implement that project. We're pleased to report that we have 4 projects that have been submitted to us. In the coming meetings in November and December, we'll be coming back with you with our list of ranking that we need to get back to PennDOT. We have the Lingle Avenue improvements that South Londonderry Township has put up money to begin the work to advance that project, and did do a submission for funding through that program under the stormwater component of the TA set aside. Forge Road Elementary is looking at doing some improvements at the school to help delineate some of the traffic pickup and drop-offs that they have between buses and the children getting to school, so there will be some pedestrian enhancements. We're looking at Northwest Elementary School with the improvements that go into West Lebanon. They did apply through the MTF, or the Multimodal Transportation Fund, and haven't yet received word, so Steve Shirk and the school district decided that they would submit an application as well for TAP. And then our LVRT Phase 6A, that's the section, for those of you who are aware, John Wangert is looking at a pocket park east of Chestnut Street. We're looking at trying to provide a connection that would go on the north side of Chestnut Street down to 22nd Street over to the new park at North Cornwall Township. We're also trying to tie that together with an additional project that we're working with the township for possibly a turn back of the 20th Street connection between 422 and Chestnut Street. It would have potentially a bridge replacement project as well. So we'll keep you posted on as that develops. We did get some good news that one of the adjacent property owners on the corner has agreed that he is going to donate land, which will help us further enhance that. The route actually falls along a RT route, so there's some potential to tie in some improvements that kind of go in line with what Terry's working on with their shelter and sign project. So we'll keep you posted as that progresses, but you can expect to see a list of recommendations at our next meeting about what our ranking is from the staff in terms of what we think are the most deliverable of all those projects. They've actually made it pretty tough for us this year. These projects are all pretty good. I guess one of the things I wanted to take a moment to talk to you guys a little bit about was what we received from Chris Metka, who's the program manager for the TAP, just to give you some idea about how steep the competition is for this kind of money. The TA set-aside funds received 172 applications with a total of $147 million. Keep that in mind, $55 million available. 22 of the 24 planning partners throughout the state submitted. 12 applications were for stormwater projects. That's an increase. And I think Chris' resounding statement to all of us was that they're a lot higher quality projects, and they have been looked at. People have really put a lot of time in, being able to answer the questions that they need to decide on whether these projects are something to move forward with. And I think there's a lot of interest, so we'll see how we play out after we do our review and recommendations. So I don't know if there's any questions, if anybody has on any of those items.
One question, is there a red light at 16th and Lehman in the West Lebanon school?
No.
Really? Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions for John, we'll move on to our 2018 MPO calendar. If everyone would please take a look at that and make sure that they're okay with those dates. I believe it follows the same pattern that we've been following. And if anyone has any questions on that?
Yeah, in our respect, we don't need any action
Yeah.
today, but we would encourage anybody, if you see any dates that look like they would be problematic or they would run up against other events, please don't hesitate to let us know. We'll try to steer clear of them.
Okay. Our next item is our 2019 12-year program.